Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are cracking open one of history's absolute most famous and honestly most captivating ancient mysteries. We're talking pharaohs, we're talking buried gold, and a legendary string of bizarre tragedies that struck the very people who dared to unseal the past. The curse of King Tut, unsealing the mystery. 3,000. Just think about that number for a second. For more than 3,000 years, this young boy king lay in total, absolute darkness. That's 3 entire millennia of complete silence, just sitting there entirely undisturbed beneath the harsh, shifting sands of Egypt. It's a staggering scale of time, isn't it? Honestly, a period so vast, it's kind of hard for us to even wrap our heads around. Section 1, the 1922 Royal Discovery. Let's jump forward to the year 1922. Imagine being British archaeologist Howard Carter, standing deep inside Egypt's Valley of the Kings, and finally, after literally years of searching, breaking that 3,000-year silence. A massive historical triumph. Because they didn't just find an empty room, or like a few broken pots. They uncovered magnificent treasures completely covered in gold. They cataloged these mysterious artifacts that hadn't seen the light of day since the ancient world. And the grand prize? They found the completely untouched resting place of the young pharaoh, Tutankhamun himself. Section 2, a string of strange deaths. But, well, that glittering triumph, it really didn't last long. Almost as soon as the dust settled, the narrative shifted. Things took a very dark, incredibly suspenseful turn for the people who broke the seal on that ancient tomb. What started as the greatest archaeological victory of the century quickly turned into a nightmare. And this brilliantly illustrates just how incredibly fast things unraveled. In 1922, Carter makes his historic discovery, and the heavy stone entrance to the sealed tomb is finally opened. But then, just months later, tragedy strikes out of literally nowhere. The expedition's financial backer, George Hergert, the 5th Earl of Carnarvon, suddenly dies. The guy who funded the entire dream was inexplicably gone, right as the greatest treasure in history was coming to light. And the details surrounding his death, they sent the world into an absolute frenzy. Officially, Carnarvon dies from an infected mosquito bite. Bizarre, right? But man, the rumors hit the newspapers immediately. Reports spread like wildfire, claiming that at the exact moment he passed away, all the lights mysteriously went out across the entire city of Cairo. And instantly, you start getting these whispers emerging of a deadly warning inscribed inside the tomb itself. According to those exploding global rumors, the warning was stark. It reportedly read, "Death to anyone who disturbed the pharaoh's sleep." Just imagine reading that over your morning coffee in the 1920s. It was the ultimate eerie proclamation, and it completely gripped the public's imagination with pure terror. Which brings us to Section 3, curse, coincidence, or contagion. Like historical detectives, we're going to look closely at the 3 primary suspects, so to speak, that people use to try and explain these strange, terrifying events happening around the excavation team. Suspect number 1, was it merely coincidence? I want you to pause and really think about this for a second. Was this highly publicized string of deaths just random bad luck? Just unfortunate things happening to a group of people working in a harsh, unforgiving desert environment? I mean, it's definitely the most logical answer. But as we know, human nature rarely wants to settle for just bad luck, right? So then there's suspect number 2, the scientific theory. Could it be a deadly ancient bacteria? Could there have been a real biological contagion locked away inside those sealed stone walls? Actually, think about it. When you lock organic material in a dark, humid space for thousands of years, scientists genuinely wondered if some ancient pathogen was waiting in there, completely undisturbed until Carter's team breathed it in. And then, of course, suspect number 3. Had the curse of the pharaohs become real? Now, this wasn't just some fringe idea. There was a widespread, very real global fear that something ancient, something incredibly wrathful and completely beyond our scientific understanding had actually been unleashed from that tomb to punish the intruders. Section 4, 100-year legend. Let's look at the historical consensus we have today and explore why exactly this century-old mystery continues to absolutely captivate us, even right now. So the crucial point is the sheer contrast between these 2 ideas. On one side, we've got the historian's view. They argue, and quite reasonably, I might add, that the stories and the curses were largely exaggerated by newspapers who were just desperate to sell copies. But then, you look at the other side,
The unsettling fact: people associated with the discovery just kept dying in unusual circumstances. It's this exact friction between logical history and eerie reality that really fueled the fire. And because of that friction, well, more than 100 years later, the legend never disappeared. Despite all the logical explanations and the clear consensus of modern historians, the sheer narrative power of this story was just unstoppable. When you combine a spectacular, gold-filled tomb with a continuing string of strange, high-profile deaths, you create a mystery robust enough to survive for generations. Which leaves us with this final, lingering thought to ponder. Is the real curse simply the immortal power of a deadly rumor? Did Tutankhamun achieve a strange sort of immortality? Not through magic or ancient wrath, but through a compelling story that simply outlived the facts for over a century? Definitely something to think about.